they go, I must hurry after them, for I am their leader. We've been talking the last few weeks about failure and how failure is not a bad thing. Failure is the way we learn. Failure is unavoidable. It is with us and is something that either we can befriend and say, okay, pal, you and me, and we're going on this ride together, or we can fight it, but it's not going to change. And failure is not only the way we learn, it is the building block to success and to excellence, which is why you're here. I've been thinking a lot about my class, and I want to grow my class. At one time I had 4 classes in a waiting list, and of course I've been away for 16 years, and building a business is hard, and building a class. Is that Cyril? Come on.
Sorry.
No, I know. I waited for as long as I could, but I'm glad you're here. At any rate, I could. You got a seat right here, bud. You want? No, that's all right. This is Cyril. Say hi, Cyril. That's enough. Mike, don't you take my seat. If I wanted to sell out, that's the way I look at it, or dumb down the product, I could fill the class in a heartbeat. And there's certain things I you know what, I'm not going to put myself up as some more, I don't know how to do it any other way. I really don't. And I don't serve anybody listen, everybody does things for their own self-interest. That's not a bad thing. That's the way it is, okay? If I didn't have fun and didn't like doing this, I wouldn't be doing it, okay? Period. And so I am serving my own self-interest when I teach a certain way, and I try to be kind and critical, but one of the reasons you guys are here is because I don't cut you any slack. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, and you know that it ain't perfect, I'm right there with you. And our job together is to get you where you can get there sooner, but every single time, because that's when you're going to consistently work, right? So, okay. So I'm not going to cut my standards, and I'm about excellence, and that's what you're about, or you wouldn't be here. And the necessary component is failure. And we've been talking about all the famous people and how every single one of them failed. And if you scratch a biography of somebody that's accomplished something, you're going to find out that they have paid their dues, so to speak, and they've gone through it. And I'm watching a movie last night with Michael Keaton, and he's playing Ray Kroc, who basically turned McDonald's into a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And it's a fascinating story to me. And there's a couple of observations. First of all, if you ever go to Hollywood, there's a place called Carney's. And it's a railroad car, and there's one in Hollywood and one in Sherman Oaks, with the best cheeseburger you have ever had in your entire life. Big half-pounder, sloppy with these jalapeno, oh my God. And if you go to the one in Sherman Oaks, well, at least if you did 20 years ago, you would walk in and you would swear to God that Michael Keaton was making your cheeseburger, because it is double. I mean, I thought he was doing it for a role, or he was doing some kind of research. He said, no, man, I get it all the time. It's boring. He talks like him. He looks like, and I'm not talking a little bit. I'm talking like his double. Okay, that's an aside. Well, since we were on burgers. So Ray Kroc. Here's one thing I realized. That was a 2-hour movie. And for 2 hours, all it did was told how he failed. And then I realized The Imitation Game was 2 hours about how he failed, or how they failed. And every single movie that has that kind of theme where somebody did something special was always more about the failure. The success part was like 1 or 2 scenes. There's about 5 minutes at the end, and maybe there's an after thing to close it all off and tie it, and you're done. But it's 2 hours of failure. And that's what we do as human beings. What will your 2-hour movie look like? This is part of it. You went in, what'd you do in Michael's class? Well, we failed a lot. but you learned a lot. I did it, and I'm still doing it. And you will continue to do it. You'll just do it at a higher level. But that's the human condition. And the reason I keep beating on this is it doesn't matter. I had some really moments in that, because this poor guy, he's selling these mixers out of the back of his car and going in, and all he does is get no, and doors slammed in his face, and people being rude and nasty and mean. And for the first half of my career before I became an actor, I was a salesman. And I lived it. And it's not fun. I hated every minute of it. And I was pretty good at it, especially when I had a good product. But, damn. And it was failure. And I had my own little success story. As a matter of fact, what's really hilarious is he's giving this speech, and he's learning this speech that he's given before, after his success, to Ronald Reagan and all these other big wigs and everything. And it's the speech about determination, persistence, determination, or omnipotent, right? It is the only thing that determines success. You know, education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Genius is not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Talent will not. The world is full of talented people who are unsuccessful. Persistence and determination alone. And that was my mantra in sales, and it's something I've passed on to you. You can't beat a man or a woman who won't be beat. And this business, they say, oh, don't take it personal. Well, fuck that. It's personal. They're rejecting you. No, it's not me. It's you. I don't want. Okay? You didn't get the call because I didn't want you. Oh, all right. So what's that say? And, oh my God. How many here have somebody in her family that says, why don't you get a real job? You're never going to make it. Do you know how hard it is? Why do you do it? I was at the dinner table. My nephew, who couldn't, anything that was on his brain was on his tongue, said, Uncle Mike, why do they call you Peter Pan? And I looked at my sister, who she's spitting out her food, and I'm going, really, huh? And that all went away when I got 20 minutes on a half-hour soap opera that was national. Then it was, I knew you could do it. And I went, really? Okay. And you got to forgive them, because that's their little world. And this movie, these McDonald brothers had this incredible restaurant and it's incredible quality, and the people are lining up, and Ray Kroc saw it but he saw it globally, and they saw it here. And they ended up with one restaurant, which ultimately went out of business. They never got the residual percent of the profits that they were promised. And they could have been there with him, but they couldn't get their mind around his vision. And you have to not only inure yourself to having failure as your companion, but you have to be willing to change. And you have to be flexible and flow. What do I need to learn? I found out that, my biggest challenge, and I shared one of the stories with you, was learning how to sing. Not because I wanted to be a great singer, but because I feared it. I was terrified. Stand up in front of people and sing. And I kind of like it. I ain't any better at it. Well, that's not true. I am better at it, but I ain't that. Okay? But it made me fearless as an actor. I'd do anything. Take my clothes off. Big deal. Naked is singing in front of people. That's naked, right? So, the reason that we're talking about this is because, in my opinion, we are the CEOs of our own little enterprise, our own little corporation, our own little world, and our dreams, and the reason that we came here, and the things we want to accomplish. There's just us. And sometimes it can be lonely, right? So we need to keep in mind that this is a normal evolutionary process of human beings accomplishing something, and you're not alone. Every single person who's ever accomplished anything in the world has gone on the same path. They may be just around the bend a little farther up than you, but they're walking the same thing, and they have their own little travails and their own little trouble. So when we have these little talks, my goal is to try to A, make you aware of the fact that this is how it is. And of course, it's, you know, again, it's always easy when you have the audition or you book the gig or you're feeling good, then it's good. But when you're not, you know, something's just not right, or you're feeling down, or the weather's wrong, or something's got you, or your personal life, or whatever, that's when you got to keep this stuff in mind. It's, you know, it's only a little blip. The next day will be better. Keep working, keep doing, do what you can do, okay? And then when you've left it all out there and you've done everything you can do, then you can start to worry about other things and other people and other influences. But keep in mind, again, we're in this together, but alone. Failure is part of the process, and the only way through or to the end is to go through it and to deal with it as it comes and to get better. Thanks for listening.